Volunteers for Israel Educates, episode number, I think it's 254, something
I'm
like
not
that.
sure.
It's a big number, isn't it? Well, this program, this episode is going to be recorded. It's also live caption. If you press caption on the bottom of your screen, you can have it captioned at the same time you can listen. The recording of this, so assuming it's successful, will be up on YouTube. It'll be youtube.com/volunteers for Israel. It'll be the latest YouTube of the 200 and some that we have out there of all the prior episodes.
What I'd like to say is that we the three of us went on this program, the VFI Archaeology and Rebuilding, and it was a remarkable program. What I've done is put together a PowerPoint that has some pictures, some videos, and some text, mostly pictures and videos, to share our experiences. And hopefully that you can become as excited as we were about the program, and maybe even think of going on it yourself. We just did 2.5 weeks. Julia was our guide, without further ado, the details are, it's called volunteering. So there was the volunteering part, and then there was the touring part. The volunteering was based in Safat for 5 days while we were participating with Live Note Rebuilding Program. Okay, I'm getting some kind of reverb. Alana, do you hear that?
Yeah, I already muted.
Okay, great. Okay, good. Okay. Anyway, so we were in Safat, which was unbelievable, for 5 days. And then the second part of our volunteering, we went down to Jerusalem for 7 days, where we participated in the archaeology program at the Gavati parking lot in the city of David, which was amazing. And then the touring part, we did touring with Julia. I put some of the highlights, but we did even more. It was an unbelievable tour. We started in Tel Aviv, Jaffa, up north. We were in Rosh Pina, Tiberias. Then we came down to Jerusalem, Masada, Dead Sea, the Gaza Envelope, Siderot, and the Nova Festival Memorial. What was really cool about working with Julia, maybe it was because we were a small group, maybe it was just her, I don't know, but she was very flexible. If we wanted to sit and sip coffee in a coffee shop for a while, we did. If we wanted to go to, another site and spend more time, we did. We went to the Kinneret, spent the morning going swimming. So it was really fabulous. And then we were also with Live Note, which was up in north. They did their own kind of touring, and as well the city of David. So in Live Note, like for instance, one of the things we did, we went to an ancient synagogue up north near Lebanon. That was from the Byzantine era. And then another day, we did a tour of the Golan Heights, the Syrian border, where we saw Syria, we saw Druze villages, we saw some battlegrounds from the 73 war and the 67-day war. And then in the city of David, we did some incredible touring. This, I believe, was Hezekiah's Tunnel, which I'll be talking about more later. Okay, and then, we went down to Jerusalem. This is the Gavati parking lot. I don't know if you know about the story. I think it was about 15 years ago. This was a parking lot, and they were doing some reconstruction, and they found there were some artifacts, so they had to stop the reconstruction. And so this is what they've uncovered, as part of the city of David. It's right south of the walled city. And if you look at this, every inch was taken out, one scoop of dirt at a time, which we learned is a very slow process. It was just amazing to be here, realizing that we were working in levels that were from, the first temple and into the Hellenic period. Okay, so again, this is digging at the level of the destruction of the first temple around 580 BC. You see that's the southern wall of Jerusalem, and this is all below it. This was me working in this what we would call the pit. We kind of referred to where we were working. And we were there for a couple of days. And there's Mark. And the interesting thing, if you see in the picture, there's some stones on the ground on the right side. on the floor. They had us really focus on that quite a bit because they weren't sure whether these stones were from debris of a fallen wall or whether it was a foundation of the walls that existed, or the more we did it, they started to think that it might actually be a wall from an earlier period that these other walls were built upon. So it was very interesting listening to the archaeologists discuss these theories. And here we were waiting in a safe area during a Houthi missile attack. One of the mornings we got in work around 7:30, and it was then we get some notification on our phone that there may be a missile attack. We had to go to the shelter area, and we actually did hear the thing get knocked down. We heard like a boom. It's amazing how people have gotten very used to it. And I think by the end of 2 weeks, we were kind of used to it. First day when it happened, we were in Tel Aviv. We were a little nervous, but by the end of 2 weeks, it's just kind of routine. And you can see this picture, the woman on the right in the kind of mauve shirt, that was Efrat. She was kind of the archaeologist who was kind of in charge of the site while we were there. And you can see the middle top, that was our pit. You can see all the buckets that we would fill up. I think we counted somewhere around 30, 35 buckets a day we would fill up with dirt, several with rocks, and then several with shards of pottery, and several, like one bucket with bones. These are some of the artifacts we found that we were very impressed with, but I don't think the archaeologists were because they have so many artifacts. But these are some handles from a jug. And when you think that these were from maybe 500 BCE, it's pretty amazing. I was kind of impressed. There was kind of a large bone there. It's from either a lamb or a goat. And then Mark, who's a dentist, happened to find a tooth, which I thought was very fitting. And it appears to be of a domesticated canine. And then we got what I considered was a VIP tour, which I was not expecting. One of the assistants was assigned to us one morning and took us throughout the whole city of David. And then we did Hezekiah's tunnel. And I have to admit, I was a little afraid of it because I'm not real fond of small spaces, but it was fine. Anyway, if you're not familiar, Hezekiah's tunnel was built around 750 BCE. From the west side of the city, you have the Gihon Spring, and they built through rock to into the city of David. And it was a way in case they were under siege, they would still have a water supply. And it ended in the Siloam Pool, which is mentioned in the Bible on the west side. So just to give you a little flavor, we got a short video. This is our guide, Yochanan, was leading the way. And the water gets to be from mid-calf to above your knees at different points.
You see how they made a turn? They realized, oh, it can't go straight. They turned a bit further. It still wasn't good enough. They turned a bit further. And then they turned here and take another turn. And I am totally overwhelmed at how they did it. I have no clue how would they have known to make the turn. It's really a mystery to me.
Okay, so the Hezekiah's tunnel, it is an engineering marvel because they went from the west side and the east side, and they dug through this mountain, and they met in the middle. How they knew what level to be at, how they knew where they were going to meet is just amazing. That's what the guide was referring to. And you can see this is the exit of Hezekiah's tunnel, and it ends in what is the Siloam Pool. And you can see that I'm standing by that exit. And this was the Siloam Pool. I believe I'm not sure which function it was, if it was 2 or 1, but I think it was where you could get a supply of water for drinking in the event of the city being besieged. It's also, I think, where people would ritualistically bathe before they would go up to the temple. And then we were really treated to the pilgrimage road. And whoops, I'm trying to. Okay, let me just see if I can get this cool effect. Oh, here we are. Okay, so over here, this is the Siloam Pool where I had been standing. And then this is the pilgrimage road, which is a stepped walkway going up to the Temple Mount. Okay, and so here, Barbara and Mark are at the entranceway with Yochanan. And you can see over here, they would have like stalls and things along the way. So this is right over here where they are over there. Okay. And you can see this is the road, and it goes up, I'd say about 2/3, maybe 3/4 of the way. And they have not, it's an active site, so they haven't uncovered all of it. So the rest of the way we had to go in an underground passage over here, which was some kind of a water sewer, which then ends up at the base of the Western Wall, which was just unbelievable. I think we were all speechless after this tour. I don't think I slept that night because I was just so excited. Okay, and then we left on the 18th. We get home 3 days later. There's something in the Times of Israel, I'm thinking Jerusalem Post, a couple of other papers about a gold ring they found in the city of David. And it was actually, I think, in the sites we were working in. And they had been kind of talking about this. I think they found it a week or two before we were there, and they were waiting for this to come out. And what I did, again, there's a brief video, which I think you'll find helpful. It has some of the people that we worked with talking about things.
אחד הדברים שנמצא פה זה מצבור תכשיטים מזהב מהתקופה ההלניסטית שעד היום לא נמצא בשום מקום אחר. חניון גבעתי ממוקם במדרון המערבי של גבעת עיר דוד. החפירות באתר מתנהלות לאורך שנים, כאשר החפירה הנוכחית היא משותפת לרשות העתיקות ואוניברסיטת תל אביב. בעיר דוד, גן לאומי סובב חומות ירושלים.
בפעם השנייה, בתור פחות משנה, מגלים טבעת זהב מהתקופה ההלניסטית הקדומה. אני מחזיקה ביד את הטבעת השנייה שהתגלה בחפירות של חניון גבעתי בעיר דוד. זאת טבעת זהב עם אבן רן אדומה, ככל הנראה גרנט. זאת אבן שהיה מאוד אופיינית בתקופה ההלניסטית. שתי הטבעות מאוד דומות, עשויות מאותם חומרים, ושניהם מתאימות לילד או ילדה. זה הביא אותנו לחשוב שאולי יש פה קשר עם טקס מוכר מהתקופה ההלניסטית הקדומה, שבו נערות מטמינות חפצים מהילדות כסמל ממעבר מהילדות לבגרות. בתקופה זאת, בזכות הכיבושים של אלכסנדר הגדול מזרחה, מגיעים אבני חן וצבעונית, וגם אופנה של שילוב בין זהב לאבנים צבעוניות.
עד היום התקופה ההלניסטית הקדומה, בעיקר בירושלים, לא ידועה כל כך. הממצא של היום מעיד לנו שהתקופה הזאת הייתה תקופה עשירה ומתוכננת בירושלים. תקופה של עושר ושגשוג, וזה דבר שעד היום לא ידענו במחקר על ירושלים.
Okay, and so then, when we finished City of David, we had 2 days left. We did some touring. We did the Dead Sea and Masada. And there we got Barbara looking pensively out at the desert. And then my friend Mark decided he was going to walk up the snake path. Okay, so just to kind of sum up, we had a couple of thoughts. These were comments that Barbara, Mark, and I shared during our trip. This, I think Barbara had mentioned. Something magical happened during our trip. Was it the tours that helped put everything in perspective? Was it seeing our efforts made a difference during a time that Israel needs our help? Was it the opportunity to learn? A return to the United States with an increased respect and wonder for Israel and an even more solid commitment. I think this was my thought. While we were expecting to serve Israel through our volunteer work, we were surprised at how personally enriched we were by the activities we engaged in and the interactions we had with so many Israelis from diversified backgrounds and beliefs. This trip is excellent. I love being in Israel. There is no country like it in the world. I believe that was Mark's. This trip exceeded my expectations. the trip of a lifetime. So glad I decided to come. And just a couple of final thoughts. I was surprised how so many people seemed so willing to talk with us about how difficult the past few years were. And they shared many of the traumas and stressful incidents they either were directly involved in or somebody else they knew was involved in. Almost everyone I spoke to lost someone close to them or knows someone who died since October 7th. Most Israelis we came in contact with seemed really grateful we were there. Several people told us they were glad to see there are still people who support them because all they see on the news are the anti-Israel protesters and the people who hate them. Many shared how difficult their lives have been due to financial hardships. Shopkeepers, artists, business owners all thanked us for coming to Israel and helped them by spending money. I believe tourism, I heard, was down anywhere from 85 to 95%. We also saw firsthand, I always knew this, but we saw how close the borders are to the kibbutzim and understand why and how it's necessary that Israel maintains its territorial integrity. I spoke to a number of reservists. They've all been called up for active duty 3, 4, even 5 times for as many as 300 to 400 days since October 7th. It's not only been dangerous and stressful for them personally, but it's placed tremendous stress and burden on their families. Yet when asked about how they felt about their service and disruption to their lives, they all typically replied, "It's our time." A good number of Israelis in the past believed there could eventually be peace with the Palestinians and there might be a potential for a 2-state solution. I found very little support for this today. Some feel the war should continue, some believe it should be stopped, but no one seems to have any idea what will happen in Gaza when the fighting stops. They don't believe Hamas can stay in power, but they have no clear idea who can run Gaza. It's clear Israel needs our support now more than ever. And I think we all left with a great determination and respect for the strength, resilience, and determination exhibited by almost everybody we encountered. Shalom, and next year in Jerusalem. And that's it.
So thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Really
Really great.
wonderful.
Very nice.
I really wanted to somehow put into pictures and words what we experienced, that it really was a trip of a lifetime, you know.
Amazing.
Yeah, what Larry's not
glad.
telling you is he spent endless hours putting that together. Probably.
It shows. It shows. I
Probably
didn't know how to do
a
some of that
full-time
stuff.
You know,